Welcome to Rebooking, the series where I look at horribly booked WWE storylines and wrestlers and make up a scenario about how I would do them. Today, we will be talking about how I would have booked Aleister Black's main roster run. Aleister Black, in my opinion, was one of the most promising stars to have ever come out of NXT. He had a dope-ass gimmick, a really cool entrance, and one of the most coolest finisher. However, his debut was just a random thing that happened. He and Ricochet were put in a random tag team that couldn't even win the championships. He is nowhere near his full potential, but Vince has probably given up on him. Alright, my turn. So let's begin. The night after WrestleMania, Samoa Joe just successfully defended his title against Rey Mysterio. He comes out and says how he has finally made the US Championship prestigious again. And he says that from now on, he will be defending the title every single week. This starts that night and he has great matches with Mysterio, Balor, Lashley, McIntyre, Reigns etc. At SummerSlam, Samoa Joe gives another open challenge, and then to everyone's surprise, Aleister Black from NXT comes up and challenges Joe. The match starts, and a single black mass is enough to win the match. The match lasts just 24 seconds, and Aleister Black just won the US Championship to start his main roster career. Next Raw, Aleister comes out and says that Joe will get his rematch in a month, but Aleister is a fan of how Joe defended the title every week. Black says that he needs to show everyone just how good he is, so he is now issuing an open challenge for the title. However, the challenge is a bit different. If anyone can manage to kick out of the black mass, then they will be crowned the new United States champion. The first opponent is AJ Styles. They have a great 15-minute match, but the phenomenal one goes down to a black mass. Next week in the Dutch Destroyer Open Challenge is Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler puts up a good fight but again goes down to the Dutch Destroyer. Black is now 3-0. Next week, the challenger is Carl Anderson. A 5-minute match that ends with another black mass as always. 4-0. Next week, Gallows challenges Black. Even with the help of Carl Anderson's distraction, a black mass is enough to finish the match. 5-0. Next match is a rematch of the US Championship between Joe and Black at Money in the Bank. This is actually a very good match and Black misses to hit the black mass once but finally, out of nowhere black mass is enough to win. 6-0. The next 4 weeks comprise of the Dutch Destroyer Open Challenge that is accepted by Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens. And next match is Clash of Champions. Here, the Open Challenge is accepted by a debuting Ricochet. They put a great 20-minute match but the one and only also becomes a victim to the black mass. After this, Black comes out next week and says that this has gotten boring. He extends the challenge to anyone from Raw, SmackDown as well as NXT. That week the challenge is accepted by Finn Balor. Great match that ends with another black mass. 12-0. After the challenge has been extended to all brands, the next week, the challenge is accepted by Velveteen Dream. Of course, a 15-minute match that ends with a black mass. 13-0. Next week, Andrade faces Aleister Black and the Dutch streak now becomes 14-0. The final night before Hell in a Cell, Mustafa Ali shows up from SmackDown. These two put up an actually great match but Ali finally falls victim to the black mass. 15-0. At Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton accepts the challenge and the match is basically RKO versus Black Mass. 2 out-of-nowhere moves. At the beginning of the match, Black tries to hit Randy with a black mass but Randy catches his foot and hits an RKO. Black kicks out at 1. This surprises Randy and he gets ready to hit another RKO when Black hits a black mass out of nowhere and pins Randy. 16-0. The next week, the Dutch Destroyer Open Challenge gets accepted by Murphy, and after Black wins the match with another black mass, Orton hits a RKO out of nowhere. Next week, before the Open Challenge P was accepted by Tommaso Ciampa from NXT, Black calls out Randy and says that he is more than welcome to accept the challenge again. Of course, Ciampa couldn't pull off the win. 18-0. At SmackDown, the main event is Randy Orton vs Shinsuke Nakamura. However, at the end of the game, Black came out and hit a black mass on Orton. On Raw, as Zayn accepts and eventually loses to the black mass, Randy appears on the backstage and says that at Crown Jewel, Orton will again challenge for the US Championship. The next Raw, Sheamus challenges and loses to Black. The streak is now 20-0. At Crown Jewel, Randy and Aleister put on a 20 minutes great match, and finally a black mass ends the match. Black stands tall with a 21-0 streak. At Raw, Kyle O'Reilly accepts the match and it is a short 5-6 minute match. 22-0. Next week, Daniel Bryan accepted the challenge and actually gives a great fight to Black, but unfortunately, Black Mass is too powerful for Bryan. 23-0. As we keep moving towards Survivor Series of Raw vs SmackDown vs NXT, the next challenger is the NXT Northern American Champion, Roderick Strong. A great match but Black pulls off the win. 24-0. And next week, of course, it's the Intercontinental Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. Both of them put on a phenomenal match, but after a 25-minute bout, Black Mass ends the match. 25-0. At Survivor Series, it's the North American Champion Roderick Strong vs US Champion Aleister Black vs Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Black even manages to win that match. 26-0. After this, the Open Challenge returns and the next opponent is Rusev. Rusev gives a great challenge to Black but could not pull off the win. 27-0. After the match, Black says that it has gotten boring again and he issues a new challenge. If anyone can hang in the ring with Black for more than 10 minutes, they win the championship. Next week, the challenge is accepted by Seth Rollins. Rollins managed to survive 9 minutes and 32 seconds. But even the Kingslayer couldn't survive a black mass. Next week, Walter accepts the challenge, but loses the match in 8 minutes and 49 seconds. The last week before TLC, Kofi Kingston accepts and becomes a prey to the black mass after 9 minutes and 12 seconds. At TLC, Roman Reigns accepts the challenge and it looks like Roman is going to dethrone Aleister, but Black kicks out of even a spear and then Black masses Roman to pick up the win. Time was 9 minutes 29 seconds. The streak now becomes 31-0. After TLC, on the first Raw, Keith Lee accepts the challenge and almost defeats Black, but again gets defeated by Black at 8 minutes and 12 seconds. The next opponent to accept the Open Challenge is Big E. The match is 7 minutes long. 33-0. The week after this, Humberto Carrillo falls victim to the Black Mass. The time was 6 minutes and 59 seconds. The week after this, King Corbin loses to Black Mass in 7 minutes and 13 seconds. 35-0. At Royal Rumble, the person to challenge Aleister Black is none other than Goldberg. This is Aleister's first mega opponent. Goldberg loses to Black in just 4 minutes and 57 seconds. 36-0. The next opponent for Black is Rey Mysterio. 6 minutes 1 second match. 37-0. Next week, Braun Strowman tries to defeat Black but almost beats the 10-minute mark before getting pinned after a black mass at 9 minutes 53 seconds. 38-0. Adam Cole accepts the challenge next week, but of course after a decent 8-minute match, Black picks up the win. 39-0. The last opponent for Black before Super Showdown is John Morrison. The streak becomes 40-0. At Super Showdown, the person to accept the challenge is The Miz. Just as the match is about to start, a gong is heard. The lights go out and The Undertaker appears in the ring. He first looks at Black and then points at the WrestleMania sign. Then the lights go out again and Taker is gone. As the match starts, Black immediately hits a black mass and then pins Miz. 41-0. But after the match, Black gets a mic and says that he forfeits the US Championship and accepts the dead man's challenge. Before WrestleMania, Taker says that he used to have the greatest streak in sports entertainment, but then this kid came about and made his own. He needs to show him what the old streak can do. Aleister says that he grew up idolizing The Undertaker, but sometimes, you have to even defeat your idols to make sure that you become the greatest. Initially, I would have Taker be the first person to kick out of the Black Mass, but 3 Black Masses ends up being too much for Taker. However, due to the pandemic, the match would have changed to the graveyard match. Even then, Black does win the match and then becomes the man who retires The Undertaker. The 42nd victim of the Black Mass is the Dead Man, the man who has had the greatest streak of all time. And that is it. That is how I would book Aleister Black's main roster run. Let me know if you enjoyed it and what to rebook next in the comment section below. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, that will help out the channel a lot. Thanks again, see you in the next one.